Everyone, hi. Bruce Mufson, LCSW, coming out with another video breakdown from SUNRIDGE, Nevada. We have been following this topic. You guys have been asking for this repeatedly, particularly on Kendrick Lamar, Count Me Out. And you guys are saying to me, hey, are you going to touch about all this going on the last 2 weeks between, Kendrick and Drake, all the diss tapes, the back and forth, the back and forth, the back and forth. And we were answering, yes, we are, yes, we are, yes, we are. And tonight we're going to do it. And I have a lot of things to talk about tonight. So I'm going to go beyond our normal time limit. I want to kind of open this up tonight to questions and answers because I have a different perspective on it and how I'm looking at it from a clinical level. So if you have comments, say them, say them, say them, and I will get to them after I do the breakdown. But tonight is wide open. And I want to use this time to talk about a little bit about who we are, what makes us unique, what makes us different, and really help people understand why people do things the way that they do. Okay, so with no further ado, I'm going to jump right into it. You guys know already how it's going to go. I pick up the pieces that I think are the most clinically relevant. I'm going to say why tonight, why I'm doing that. Because in the past, I've had people say to me, why did you pick that lyric versus that lyric? You know, questions like that. But tonight, there's a very specific reason why I'm doing what I'm doing and the theme that I'm going to bring out tonight. The song, of course, is Meet the Grahams, and it's referring to Drake's family. But to me, there's so many clinical considerations here, and I really, again, have to tip my hat to Kendrick because, people, I read the comments, obviously, and I've seen this thousands of times. He's a great songwriter, he's a great storyteller. But what I don't think people sometimes don't pick up is he's different in the fact that he layers the songs. There's like a song within a song, a message within the song, double messages within the song, and he's hinting at what he's trying to say, but he's letting you, the listener, in a sense, figure it out, which is really what makes a great artist or a great storyteller is you're left guessing till the very end. And he's very, 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 very good at doing that. So here we go. A lot to talk about. I want to hear comments tonight. And we've been getting a lot more comments on our videos. I'm answering them as fast as I can, and I'm going to continue to do so. And if you have any questions about tonight's topic, feel free to shoot it out. Okay, so I don't want to get into like the history of the beef, and it's going on for a long time, and what's happened the last 2 weeks, the back and forth, and this one saying this and this one saying this. I want to focus on this song because I think this song really clarifies where Kendrick is coming from, and indirectly where Drake is coming from as well. As much as they want to see themselves as polar opposites, they're more closer conjoined than they really realize. So here we go. The song again is Meet the Grahams. Now, in verse 1, it goes, the part I liked was, Dear Adonis, he's talking to Drake's son. And he's saying, I'm sorry that that man is your father. Let me be honest. Let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man. Your dad is not responsive. You're going to notice tonight, of all the pieces I'm going to be touching, it's going to be touching about Kendrick's part of talking to Drake's family and indirectly Drake himself of what it means to be a father, of what it means to be a good father, of what happens when you don't have a strong father, of what happens when you don't feel good about yourself, when you don't feel confident about yourself, and what does generational trauma really look like? That even though you're 6 and now you're 36, 46, 76, it never really leaves you. And I think these are two men that are still struggling with these issues now that they're both approaching, being 40 years old, in a sense being middle-aged. But the issues that they experienced growing up with fatherhood has affected them as fathers. And this is why the comments are made and are so pointed. And I think this is why Kendrick felt so aggrieved, because it was attacking him in the most hurtful way possible, which was his family. Because ultimately, all we want to have as dads is as guys, women too, of course. For men, it's different. You want your kids to do better than you. You want your kids to be successful. You want your kids to have self-confidence, good self-esteem, and like who they are, and don't have to worry about, do people like me or not? When you see that the need for adulation, you have to worship me, I'm the greatest, you kind of realize there's something not quite right there, and there's a reason why people do it. So everything I'm going to talk tonight about, what I'm going to break down from Kendrick is based on that premise. And I could do Drake songs as well, and I'm going to find the same thing there as well. I spent a ton of time on this song and reading so much of the literature, what's going on, the background, the history, their childhoods. I know Kendrick's childhood pretty well from doing so much of his music. But Drake is not that different either. So let me go back again. I'm sorry that that man is your father. Let me be honest. It takes a man to be a man. Your dad is not responsive. So for a song that's like a diss song, I know everyone's saying this. He says he's writing a letter to a child. I mean, it's interesting how he's taking that approach. He's talking to a child about being a good person and to understand his background. But he's saying, "Dear Adonis," he's talking respectfully. And he's saying, "Your dad is not responsive." Wow. And then here's another one. It goes a little bit further. "I look at him and wish your grandpa," whose name was Dennis, "would have worn a condom. I'm sorry you got to grow up," and then stand behind him. I look at him. I'm looking at your father, but I'm looking at his father, your grandfather, and I'm saying, you know what? Never should have had you. Never should have had you because he wasn't ready to have you. He wasn't there for you. He didn't do what he should have done. And Kendrick had that same issue growing up. So if you're not going to do it right, don't do it. You know, it's something I tell people in counseling all the time. If you're not ready, you're not ready. Same thing in sports too. How many people are really the leader, the team leader? Everyone's always talking. "Oh, give me the rock, give me the ball, give me the puck," whatever the object is or the sport is. But in the end, they're not really the team captain. The team captain wants the puck, wants the basketball, wants the baseball. I want to pitch the last batter. I want the responsibility. That defines what greatness is on the court. The same thing with parenting. I want to be a parent. I want to go through everything with my child. I want my child to be successful, confident, self-aware. And yet he's saying, you know what? Your grandpa would have worn a condom. I'm sorry you got to grow up and then stand behind them. You're standing behind a person that wasn't there. I see we got a comment already. It says, "Let's go. I will get to that at the end. Thank you." Yeah, he wasn't there. Never should have had you. Never should have had him to have you because you're already faltering. You didn't have that connection, that warmth, that pillar to take you to the next level. Very interesting how he's starting off, Kendrick. And sometimes our parents a little further down make mistakes that affect us until we grown. Really? Wow. Yeah. You're 75 years old and you're still longing for the encouragement of your father, that your mother's in your life, that your parents say, "I love you," that they give you hugs and kisses, that they embarrass you when you're 50. You still live for that. It's my mother. It's my father. They love me. They love me. I went to a graduation recently. I took like several hundred pictures on my phone. "What are you doing? Stop, stop." I'm your father. I'm allowed to do it. I want the pictures. They affect us until we grown. How many times I've walked into houses where the biggest issue why the kid was dysfunctional and going down the highway to hell was lack of a parent. Lack of a father, almost a given, and lack of a mother too. But that lack of a father will catch up to you and crush you every single time. That's why I have such respect for single moms. I know how hard it is even with a parent that's functional, a dad. And to be a mom with multiple kids, it's exhausting. No wonder so many people fall down. I get it. But he slams Dennis. He's ultimately slamming the grandfather, Dennis. That was Drake's biological dad. Okay. Now, he goes on again. He goes a little further. "Hey, you're a good kid that need good leadership." Yeah. "Let me be your mentor since your daddy don't teach you blank." Hey, you know what? As annoyed as I am with your father and I can't stand him, I'm here for you. because you need somebody in your life to look out for you. I don't think your dad can do it. He's saying to his so-called enemy, his rival, I want to raise you. I want to be there for you. Because what he's saying is, I didn't have that myself. How many times in our hundreds of videos that we've done have I talked about the need for a mentor? To have someone that can guide you and advise you. Doesn't necessarily have to be, guy. It could be guy, girl, whatever it is. But you need a mentor in your life that looks out for you, that cares about you, that advises you. I've mentored so many people in my lifetime. And he's saying, I want to be your mentor. I don't think much of your father, but you know what? You're a good kid. I want to look out for you. It's a compliment. I see something in you I didn't have myself. And your father has none of that as far as I'm concerned, but I want to look out for you. He's not really being an enemy. He's being like a teacher, like a guide, like a Yoda, is what it really comes down to. I want to be there for you. Then you go further here. It goes, never let a man piss on your leg, son, disrespect you. Either you die right there or pop that man in the head, son. Never fail in the escort business. That's bad religion. Please remember you could be a blank even if you got blank. I'll get into code switch in a second. He's giving you advice about career choices, how to stand up for yourself. Don't let people take advantage of you. Don't let people hurt you mentally, physically, emotionally. I wish I would have had someone like that. I wish I would have had a Kendrick in my life talking to me that way, because my dad wasn't much of a dad. I made tons of mistakes. I didn't have someone in my corner till I finally figured things out, till I was much, much older. Still screwing up because I did things that were stupid that I wasn't thinking. I didn't have a mentor to push it through, to talk to. I wish I would have had that. And Kendrick is saying that to this young child. He goes, never code switch, whether right or wrong, you're a black man. Let me explain what code switch is for those that may not be sure of the term. It really refers to someone I saw. I went online and looked at a couple of videos of this, and there was a young guy that did a good job explaining it. He said, I'm Nigerian, but I was born in London and now I live in America. So he goes, I talk differently if it's, say, my mother on the phone. My mother is African. She said, all African moms will end with a prayer at the end of every conversation. So he goes like, yes, and God should take care of me. Yes, yes, yes. Because if I talk to my friends, though, it's a different way of speaking. And since I now live in America, my sister still lives in England. When I talk to her, she's worried I'm becoming too American with my language. I switch to more of an English accent to make her happy. That's called code switching. I've done that myself a million times, and we've all done that. But now he just kind of explained it in a good way. And I think what Kendrick is trying to say is, don't stop being who you are. Be proud of your race. Be proud of your heritage. Be proud of your ethnicity. So don't be different for different people. And because you're a black man. And even if it doesn't benefit your goals, do some push-ups, get some discipline. Man, it is so interesting to me how Drake and Kendrick are big on the physicality. I just found out today from my producer agent that Kendrick in the last video, he's going through New York City and he's like doing a workout. He's doing push-ups, pull-ups, grabbing on things. And Drake, we know, has like had a huge change in his body with the weightlifting, and he looks a lot more sculpted. Big workout, big workout, big workout. So there's a sense of I need that masculinity to define myself, because otherwise I don't feel good about who I am. I packed on 40 pounds of muscle. I got a six-pack. I'm tough. We know toughness comes really from your mindset, but it's like, well, it doesn't hurt to be able to bench 175 either. I feel good. I feel good. I'm intimidating. Again, it's a sign of I got to prove myself because I don't really like who I am when I look in the mirror. So the big muscles, the big neck, the strong body, that gives me some affirmation, makes me feel good about myself. I've seen this 1,000 times. I go to a gym. It's really for me to lose weight and get into better cardio health, but it's not like this is new. This is not news again. I go into the locker room, even though there are signs saying do not take selfies with your phone because they don't want other guests to be annoyed by getting their picture taken. All you see nonstop is guys taking selfies of themselves before the shower, after the shower, looking in the mirror, having their friends take pictures, posing, and the girls do the exact same thing too. I'm not in the girls' locker room, but on the floor, all I see is shot after shot after shot of the girls taking pictures. So clearly, this is a factor. So people want this to show the outside world, I look a certain way. Fine. Okay. Get some discipline. A little further down, be proud of who you are. Your strength come from within. He's giving this kid life lessons. Your strength comes from you within. When you like who you are, you don't make stupid decisions. You don't do dumb things. You have a healthy marriage. You have a good relationship with your kids. You're successful at your career. People want to be around you. People like you. They like your presence. And he's telling this to this kid. It's almost like a primer on how to be a success in life. Because what he's saying is, look, your dad ain't one, and I ain't one. So let me tell you all the hard knocks I've had with my brushings with fame and my so-called friends and my insecurities. Don't be like me. That's what I tell my kids. One of my kids said to me, man, you are a very depressing father. It's depressing to listen to you. I said, really? I'd never had any idea. I was kind of surprised at that. I said, also, when you make 1,000 mistakes like I did, you get a little bit jaded. You get a little bit gun shy. You get a little bit nervous. You're just barely a kid, barely an adult. My kids are adults. But I don't want you to make the same mistakes I did. I tell it to people all the time. I'm telling you this because I'm a lot older. I just turned 61. And I don't want you to make the mistakes I made. And you only get that when strength comes from within. Okay. Now we're going to go to verse 2. This is very interesting. He starts off talking to the mother, Sandra. And your son got some habits. I hope you don't undermine them. But then he goes, you a woman, so you know how it feels to be in alignment. He's giving her props. He's showing her respect. And the whole time he's talking, metaphorically to the mother, he's very, very respectful. Well, the grandmother, the grandmother. He's very, very respectful and very nurturing and very kind. So much for him being dissing anybody. Only person who's really dissing is Drake, but not the family. And then, though, he goes to the dad and he tears into him. And it goes, dear Dennis, you gave birth to a master manipulator. You gave birth to a master manipulator. Even using you to prove who he is a huge favor. He's got nothing from you. He's using you. I think you could ask for more paper and more paper and more paper and more paper. I'm blaming you for his gambling addictions. Wow. Psychopath intuition, that man that liked to play victim. You raised a horrible blank person. The nerve of you, Dennis. The anger pouring out of Kendrick. And notice also the beat. I know people say, like, how do you figure this stuff out? I like music. I can't play anything. But I like music. There's a single beat throughout this song. If you notice, it's like bam, 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 bam. Single beat. There's not like a lot of background. Kendrick is almost spitting the words out. He does that when he wants to get attention to the words. When people use a huge chorus and there's a lot of abridged work, I've sat through that with a lot of songs. I was listening to the piano, that one chord, boom, 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 boom. That's cadence. When you listen to marches on a military level, when they used to use drummer boys, for instance, on a battlefield where bugles were noise, which is in general, it would be like one beat. So you knew immediately what you had to do and how to respond to the battlefield conditions. And this is what's happening here. It's that one beat. Shut up. Listen. I'm talking. Pay attention. This needs to be said because it hasn't been said since he was a little boy. You screwed up. You didn't do your job. Take responsibility. You. And boom, the nerve of you, Dennis, the nerve. Because you know what? I didn't have a father either. And you should have done better because it wasn't good in my house and it could not have been good in your house. He didn't have a dad. Where were you? But then, Sandra, sit down. What I'm about to say is heavy. Now listen. Respect to the moms. Respect to the mother. Because she raised them. She was the one. Sandra, sit down. What I'm about to say is heavy. Now listen. Showed respect to the mother the entire song, not to the father. Okay? And he says things that, some really nasty things, but it starts off with affirmation. Anytime I do counseling, I always try and find something positive to say before I lower the boom, before I say the truth. I always try and start with something positive. So here's another thing too. He's telling now, a little further, a child should never be compromised and he keeping his child around him. Fathers, you keep your kid next to you. You walk into the house. You don't go sit down in front of the TV and just get plastered. We go on your phone and look at pornography. You focus on your kid. Hey, kid comes excited to see you, at least when they're young. Then they get older, they get sick of you. But at least when they're still young, you know, who else do they know? You come in, you pick your kid up. You hug it 50 times. You squeeze it 50 times. You say, you tickle it. You say, how was your day? You smother it with some more kisses. You fool around with it. You read it in a book. You take a walk with it. Your kid. You don't ignore it. Kid looks forward to seeing you. You come into the house, they're excited. It's like having a pet. The pet comes to see you. You kiss and hug the pet. Common sense. So he's saying that child should never be compromised and he keeping his child around them. Hey, I'm going out to get gas. Let's go. Get in the car. 4 years old, they're excited. At 14, they're not excited. Trust me. At 24, they can't wait to run from you. But at 4, they're still, where are they going to go? You're faster than them. You're bigger than them. You scoop them up. You take them to get gas. You get them an ice cream cone. They're thrilled. That's what he's saying. You keep them around you. You go shopping. That's why they have carts and you can put the feet through. You be involved. Then let's go down further. To anybody that embody the love for their kids, to anybody that cares about their children, come on. Come on. You know, let's go. That's it. To anybody that embody the love for their children, keep the family away. Yeah, if it's a troubled family, it's not worth it. But he's saying love your kids. Love. He's using the word love so much because protect them. I was not protected. You know, there's this one of Kendrick's songs. The mother says to him when she wasn't kidding, were you molested? I never had my mother say that to me. I was asking my Asian producer, I said, your mom ever say anything to you like that when you came home? Maybe how was the game? How was the workout? You're hungry? You got your homework done? Go shower, you smell. You look like you've been molested. Something wrong? You're not leaving your room. But he had to say to his mother, no, never happened. She was pretty convinced that he was. And the reason why I'm saying this is because she was molested. So it's like, well, I know the signs, you know, so I'm a little bit confused, a little bit nervous. Were you molested? I've been there. It takes a molester to know a molester, you know, molested to be no molested kid. He says, no, never happened. But imagine that's what a mother would say to a child. So talking about that, protect them. I was not protected. Then he goes like this. I know that the rumor is that, you know, Drake has a child out of wedlock. There's a girl out there, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But he goes, dear baby girl. This is like a love letter on how to raise kids properly from Kendrick. I'm sorry that your father not active inside your world. Yeah. Yeah, grow up. Where's daddy? Do I have a daddy? Why does every other kid have a daddy but me? He didn't commit to much, but his music, yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. He loves the fame, but he's not there to take you to places, be with you. He's a narcissist, misogynistic, living inside his songs, tried destroying families rather than taking care of his own. These are punishing words. These are like body shots, honestly. When I listen to boxers talk about getting punched, we're getting hurt, we're getting rocked, it's always that body shot where a snap to the jaw, like that third shot to my kidneys, with that shot to the liver, with that snap punch to my face. Like I went down, I couldn't see anything. I was blinded. I was like another planet. They're body shots. These are painful to hear, but it's the truth. Should be teaching your timetables, or watching Frozen with you, or at your 11th birthday singing poems with you. Wow. Yeah, that's what a father should be doing. I love being a father. Anything I've done in my life, and I've done some things, okay, nothing compares to being a father. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. I loved the diaper changing. I used to make stupid faces to my kids, and they kind of eventually picked up on that when it really stank. I didn't care getting up late at night. I'd scoop them up and like tickle them. They'd scream and yell, whatever. I loved all that stuff. I loved taking them on walks. I loved going to the park. I could do endless slides, seesaw 1,000 times. I never got bored. A lot of times I work with other kids where I get, it's the truth. My agent producer, he's looking at me, he's laughing. We've gone to homes where we basically were like fathers. Even before we did the assessment, we would like just hang out with the kids for like an hour and just play with them. Or I would have kids that weren't even the kids I was supposed to be working with. They wanted to come to the park, like, oh my God, actually gonna do something with my older brother. I push him in a swing. I put him down a slide. I got him an ice cream on the way home. I forgot this moment, but he reminded me. We were once doing an assessment. It was like a 2-year-old. And I'm like, I think the kid wants attention. He was like just kind of roaming around. And I ended up picking the kid up, putting him in my lap. He sat on my right leg, and I used my left hand to write when I talked to the parent. They were oblivious to the kid's needs. And all I did was give the kid hugs, kisses, blow on him, and just tease him, play with him. And he loved it. He didn't want to leave. He sat with me for like an hour and 15 minutes. And all I did, he had a couple of toys. I played with the toys back and forth while I wrote, because the kid wanted attention. And I provided for him because the parents in that house were such zeros, they couldn't even comprehend that he had needs. It was kind of sad. So he goes like, then he goes a little further. I want to tell you that you are loved. You're brave. You're kind. You got a gift to change the world. It's a love song. He's not angry at Drake. He's telling Drake, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're in this situation. I'm sorry I was in my situation. And we're caught in this game of words that's really not helping anybody. But he's being honest. Like, don't make the mistakes I made. You're a superstar. I'm a superstar. You're number one. I'm number 1.5. I'm number 2. You're okay. Your kids are the most important thing in what you're raising. I saw a picture of one of my favorite football players of all time, Barry Sanders. He was at a college graduation of one of his kids. My son graduated. I'm very proud of him. Barry Sanders, probably in my opinion, the greatest running back I ever saw play football. Where was he at the graduation? He wasn't signing autographs, in his Lions jersey. He was with his son. He was proud of his son. He finished college. That's it. It's important because our children is the future. Our children is the future. So right. You want your kid to be dysfunctional? You want your kid to see me when they're adults, where I go visit them in prison to see if they have any potential outside when they get out in 12 years? Yeah, that's the future you're going to have. I remember reading this story one time about a football coach. He was coaching in an inner city team. It was a white coach. It was almost all black team. And he was a good coach, and the kids liked him, and he was a good guy. He stopped coaching, and he said, it is interesting why he goes, my son is now old enough to start playing football. And when I played football in high school and middle school, my dad was never there. And there's a tradition when your kid finishes a game, you pick up their cleats. You pick up their uniform, and you hold it for them. And you got like their bag. It's like a tradition. Fathers walk off the field with you. They're holding the gear. And he goes, I want to do that for my son because my dad didn't do it for me. I was the only kid on my team that his father never showed. My father never showed to any of my games. And he said, you know what? I was like, what did I do wrong? How come my father can't show up to pick up my gear, hold my gear, and walk me and tell me he's proud of me? And we stop off at McDonald's. We go to something like that. I never had that. He goes, I want to do that for my kid. He goes, I really enjoy what I'm doing, but I got to give it up. I said, man, guy's a real father. Because our children is the future. But Drake, your daddy, lives in confusion. He doesn't know who he is. That's the problem. Okay. Going a little further, he goes, and he's giving advice to this young girl. Who knows if she's there, and I'm not going to get into that. Goes, I never want to hear you chase a man because it's feral behavior. Sitting in the club with sugar daddies for validation. Respect yourself. What's the word feral? Saying, I don't want you to be someone's bitch. That's what he's really saying. Don't debase yourself. Don't be with a guy, sleep with a guy because he has money. When you read these people saying, oh, I have a sugar daddy, and he gives me money. I think, my God, your self-esteem has to be so low to think that that's a normal thing to do. That's terrible. I never had daughters, but if I had a daughter that said that to me, I would have to look in the mirror and say, I really failed as a father. I'm a terrible, terrible dad. If this is what my daughter thinks is normal. And if I looked at the guy in the face, I'd want to punch him in the face. That's what you do? All right. Verse 4. Still talking now. He's talking to the kid, the boy. But he goes like this. He says, I know you're probably thinking I wanted to crash your party, but truthfully, I don't have a hating bone in my body. And it's not who I am. I don't want to do this. I feel I have to. And why? Because he goes, but you, referring to Drake, you effed up the moment you called out my family's name. That's the anger. That's the worst thing he could have done. You called out my family's name. Anger, anger, anger. I got so many problems figuring out who I am, what kind of father I am, what kind of person I am. When you did that, it was like the lowest blow you could have done. That's why I'm lashing out. And then he goes, we've seen this 1,000 times from all the breakdowns. It goes, the last thing is that, they always come up with this line. It goes, crave entitlement, but want to be like so bad that it's puzzling. No dominance. Let's recap. Moments when you didn't fit in. No secret handshakes with your friend. I mean, they're not different. Kendrick grew up in Compton. You ever been to Compton or anything about Compton? It's gang riddled. It's been like that for a long time. It's a tough place to live and grow up in. They literally recruit you at age 8. It's not a joke. And you talk to people when they say, like, my grandfather was in jail, my father was in jail, my brother was in jail, I'm next. Or who got shot? How many times did he get shot? Or where'd you go in the juvie system? Oh, I know that place. They had good burritos on Thursday. Oh, yeah. Is that CO still there? Do you have any fights with that gang in there? It's legitimate. It's a tough place to grow up. And it's a glorification of stupidity, violence. But you sucked into it because what other choice do you got? He didn't go down that route, Kendrick. God bless him. He was always on the outside looking in. He wasn't gang material. But that's how you prove yourself. And again, I'm not going to embarrass myself by saying I understand gang life. It's stupid. But I work with enough kids that A, thought they were, and B, I work with a number of kids and adults that truly were in that lifestyle or had been in that lifestyle. Completely different way of looking at life. Very, very different, very cold, very hard. And they all said the same thing. Biggest mistake of my life. None of them were proud of it at the end of it. So same thing. An identity for Drake. Biracial kid. White mother, black father. Mother was Jewish. He went to Jewish school in Toronto. He said, I couldn't fit in. I don't know if I was black. I don't know if I was white. I don't know if I was Jewish. Identity issues. So it wasn't like he was like unscarred from it. He's still trying to figure himself out. Who am I? And black Jews African Jews, American Jews, they struggle to fit in. It's an issue. To me, it's weird. I don't know why you have to feel that way, but I'm not stupid. And they talk about being in that situation like, what is my identity? How am I respected? How am I feeling? How am I brought in? Am I going to find a mate? So it's real. Who am I? Because I didn't know how to fit in. Then he goes this, take that mask off. I want to see what's under them achievements. He's talking to Drake directly here. Take the mask off. Yeah, I've discussed this too in the past. Billy Joel. All different faces, that song. Who am I? Take the mask off. You're gladiator, take it off. I want to see your face. Take it off. So we all go through that. Who am I pretending to be that I'm really not? Take that mask off. I want to see what's under them achievements. He's talking to Drake directly. And I know I listened to hundreds of comments. I read them. And I heard like different people talking. This is a plea to Drake to say, hey, we got more in common than you think. We got a relationship in our own way. And then he goes like this, the end of it. You lied about the only artist that can offer you some help. And I saw people going back and forth. What's he really referring to? What's he referring to? He's referring to him. I'm it. I'm the guy. I'm your best friend out there because I know what it's like to soar to the heights that we've both soared. I know what it's like to try and live up to our reputation. I know everyone is gunning for us. I know how difficult it is. Me, wake up, Drake. It's me, Kendrick. I don't want to write this stuff. I don't want to get to this level. We need to be together. My producer said probably in 15 years I'll have a tour. I'm saying 10. I'll have a tour. Makeup tour. And it makes sense. They're not enemies. They're not rivals. They're kindred spirits. But they're both dealing with a lot of pain and unhappiness from somewhat dysfunctional childhoods. That from real issues that affect you as you get older. So what do they really have in common? Both did not have fathers growing up, unsure who they were. Kendrick not really fitting in Compton. Drake not really fitting in with his identity. Okay. Biracial, half Jewish, half black, whatever, how he defined himself. Okay. Not sure who I was. Drake admitting that. Kendrick being asked by his mom, have you been a victim of abuse? Okay. Both work out. A lot of the videos about them pumping iron, doing pull-ups, doing burpees. Got to be strong. Okay. And, have to prove that masculinity. And both really trying to emphasize, I'm not going to be like my father. I'm going to be invested in my children. So what's the greatest arrow to throw at each other? The poisonous arrow of all? You suck as a dad. You didn't get any better. You think because of all your money, your fame, 24-hour nannies, you never have to worry about anything. Hot wife, all those cars. You know what? In the end, you're a loser just like your father. You didn't change one bit. You didn't learn anything. That's the most painful thing to hear from anybody, that you suck as a father. Your kids are going to grow up a loser like you. You got all this money in the world. You're worth $500 million. In the end, you go home to an empty house with all the people fawning over you. You had the great line. You didn't fit in before, no secret handshake. You don't have a best friend. You got friends. Yeah, I'm using that term loosely. All they want out of you is money for drugs and money for money, and they'll laugh at all your stupid jokes. They're not your friends. Great line in Sopranos when the wife says to Tony, only reason why they laugh at your jokes is because you're the boss. They don't like you. And there was a scene when he makes a stupid joke and they're all laughing hysterically. They didn't care for him. His only reason why they're around is because they get money out of him. He brings in money. That's what he's saying. That's what they're saying to each other. That's the biggest knife you can stick in someone's gut. You made it. You're one of the 1 out of 10,000 rappers, musicians that actually make a living, and an insane living. But in the end, you go home to your mansion, you drive in your Lamborghini with your robot-controlled butler, and the only one you're talking to is Alexa. That's the reality. Okay. What's the point now? I'm going to get to the comments in a second. We are the best. This is what we do every single week. Every week. I'm the only person I know that responds to comments. I try and do 10 a night. I'm unfortunate. I work full time. I do other things as well, but I try and get back to all the comments. And for all the capital Steez people, I apologize. I did not realize how many hundreds of comments there were. I'm going to get to them because I do it to say thank you to the people that support us and enjoy